Welcome to Talent Talks, your go-to podcast for insights into global recruitment and the power of finding the right talent, brought to you by More Staffing. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an HR expert, or just keen on personal and professional growth, we're here to share insights and stories. Today, we are joined by one of Move's supply chain talents focusing on sourcing and new product development, Mary. Move Supply Chain offers fractional supply chain support to DTC brands covering inventory planning, new product development, sourcing, logistics, warehousing, overall or end-to-end supply chain for DTC brands. Mary Grace Menserado brings 10 years of diverse supply chain experience as a production planner, Shopify dropshipper, analyst, lead purchaser, and logistic experts. Welcome, Grace. Welcome, Mary Grace.
Hi, Miss Lara. Thank you.
Right. You're one of my favorite guests in this podcast. So I'm very happy that you're back with another episode. And before anything else, can you share a bit about your background and how you got into supply chain sourcing and new product development?
So I started working here in the Philippines in a manufacturing company where I do production planning, inventory management, and I switched into freelancing. And then I worked on e-commerce businesses. I tried chat support, email management, and then I think my calling is on more on the e-commerce side. So I joined. Yeah, and then the rest is history.
What's your educational background, Mary? And I'm asking this because we've covered this before, and I keep on saying this to podcasts or interviews that in my experience, I was able to train zero background in supply chain, and then now thriving supply chain practitioners, regardless of their educational background. But in my case, for example, supply chain is part of our curriculum in industrial engineering. But for you, how related is your educational background?
So it's really far from what I've studied. So I'm an undergrad of information technology. And then I also studied business management, but I haven't finished college. So it's more on self-study. And
Yes, and it's proving that educational background can be a support, but not a requirement, especially in the supply chain part. I also keep saying this, that one of the best, and we've discussed this before, one of the best soft skills that we can possess is being a problem solver in supply chain, because supply chain is a never-ending challenges and issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's not choosing time zone or place. All issues will come into an expected time whenever. So if we are not open to working with problems and solving the challenges, and it's going to be hard as a supply chain practitioner. Right. So what inspired you to join Move Supply Chain that supports e-commerce and DTC clients?
When I introduced to Move Supply Chain, I'm more intrigued or more curious on how I can support in a fractional team, wherein I'm also learning a lot from different brands, as well as this is also a part of a research on my end as well. An experience and more on to hone more of my skills as an NPD or in supply chain.
All right. How many clients do you have right now?
I think 3 right now.
Okay. Can you highlight some of the significant projects you've worked on for Move Supply Chain clients and their impact on their business?
Mm-hmm. So one of my new clients that I'm handling is he doesn't focus on the research of the product that he's selling. So right now we're focusing on cost cutting. The packaging, the accessories, and the product itself is from different vendors. So we're focusing now on getting all of those um, items in one vendor so we can have a more cheaper yet more quality product. So I think that is one of my target, and I think I'm getting into it. So we're all the sampling stage, and there are also approved items that are already for in planning.
You've mentioned about um, the client not doing enough research before launching a product. Did he or she have a an issue related to that?
I think more on time zone and yeah, just lacking time on research and tapping other vendors that is currently offering this kind of services or this kind of product with certifications, because there are compliances that we need to um, include on our sourcing, and some of the vendors doesn't have that. So when he got that vendor that offers that product and is compliance to US and UK, he just picked that vendor.
Gotcha. Did they have did you encounter an issue or a problem or problems from that initial sourcing that the client has made?
Yeah. So when sourcing, it's really difficult because different countries and states have different compliance that we need to have, or the vendor have, or the product have to go to be compliant to the rules or to the laws. And I need to speak with with the brand's legal team to know if we're matching or if it's okay with the countries that we're selling. And right now, that is our main problem with the vendor, because yeah, we have client vendor, but he's only offering the item, not the package, not the accessories. So it's very expensive for us.
Gotcha. Okay. Supply chain for DTC brands covers a lot of support. Like I've mentioned earlier, it can be in the inventory planning, demand forecasting, sourcing, vendor accreditation, new product development, logistics and warehousing, or 3PL. Um, and we are focusing on new product development and understanding how crucial this is for e-commerce businesses. And especially, I think, in my experience, the first few DTC brands that I've supported 5 years ago are mostly apparel industry. So it's a huge new product development is a huge part of the growth of the company as we as clients or as customers are looking forward for new drops or new designs, new types of apparel for these DTC brands. So in order to help with the competition within a lot of DTC brands, and we all know that a lot of brands have started when pandemic hits, and people are buying more online than actual retail or brick and mortar. So the game or the competition is really strong. If you're not if you cannot launch a new product on time, or if you cannot launch an affordable quality products on time, then you will be you'll get beaten in the very strong competition here in the DTC space. And for the key stages of NPD, or the new product development, that we focus on ensuring the success of new product, I think you've mentioned one important key step is the research. And also, of course, after the research, sourcing, and then accreditation. For For this, can you provide examples of how effective new product has contributed to the growth and success of an e-commerce business that you've worked with?
Yeah, so if you're going to be on an NPD, you need to know what the goal of the brand is. So you need to know what are the requirements, or what is the product that we're currently launching, and do a market research on that. So I think that is very essential in terms of having a successful product launch, or having a successful NPT, being a successful NPT, especially. So I just want to also repeat what I've said earlier about the new brand that I'm working with, Sound. Yeah, I think that is more of what I know really helped a lot. Is like, for example, if you can, what I research with right now, or what I've sourced with, it's half of the cogs of the company, or the item that we're selling. So if we
Meaning meaning it's half lower
yes
cost of goods sold. Okay.
yes so it's half the price of our cost of goods right now, and it's already complete. So we don't have to ship it. We don't have to ship the bags. We don't have to ship the accessories to one vendor. It really helps. It will really help the company with the sale. Also the quality. It's just that we also want to make sure that the vendor is also compliant. So we're working on that. I think
Okay, so
that's the best thing that I'm working with right now.
so to echo what you've said, you found an alternative vendor for an existing product that is half the price of the current COGS, and then you additional advantage is the sources is not from different vendors, but just from one vendor. And right now, you are currently in the process of accrediting and auditing the vendor. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, I've also helped the brand in terms of auditing the warehousing. So the part or the part of the contract of the warehouse is pick and pack, and right now we're paying the vendor to do the pick and packing of that product, wherein we can also do it on the warehouse, and we don't have to pay anything. So that is part of NPD, checking the current vendors and asking or negotiating if we can do that, or if that is part of the contract.
Let's take one step back from new product development and differentiate traditional supply chain with e-commerce DTC supply chain, since both of us have experience in traditional international company supply chain and transition to supporting e-commerce brands. What are the primary differences that you've noticed between traditional supply chain management and supply chain management required by an e-commerce or DTC businesses?
So traditional supply chain management, it involves linear distribution of network. So it's more on bulk. But with DTC businesses, this is mostly on targeting the customers itself. This includes more of real-time planning, real-time inventory, sales, customer reviews, personalized. Like, for example, the packaging has to be personalized, since it will go directly to the customer, not with the business, and then the business will transfer, or will pass it to the retailers.
So you've mentioned two categories there. One is inventory planning, and the main difference that you've noted is how quickly DTC brands act or being flexible with the ever changing demand of the customers, while um, for the new product development or sourcing, it's more of like the packaging, the way that it is produced, or the way it is packed. We are always considering it's direct from manufacturing to the customers, and doesn't need to go to wholesale or retailers, brick and mortar retailers. And I think to add to that, before we dive into back to new product development again, what you've mentioned about inventory planning is so on point, that when we are doing demand forecasting and inventory planning for international and traditional companies, we are looking at like 3 to 6 months ahead, and we fixed our PO for the whole year. We operate on a longer term orders, open POs, and then we adjust when there are immediate requirement or when we need to delay something. Like I would remember ordering oils for KFC before that is worth 3 to 6 months. And when there's a requirement or an urgent additional requirement because it's there has been a promo or vacation, and then it's a high volume order, then we will ensure that we expedite the delivery of the POs. And same thing, if we notice a little bit of delay or slack in the sales, then we can also push back some of the orders. In DTC, in my experience with the inventory planning, if you share the PO today, in the next 2 days you have a marketing ad. On the third day, you have to edit your inventory again, edit your PO, adjust, communicate with your vendor. So instead of looking at 3 to 6 months ahead, you're just living like day by day, week by week of the DTC. For the new product development in traditional supply chain, based on my experience, it's not really very far from the DTC, except that it requires DTC requires more more speed or more flexibility in producing, because if the bigger companies cannot launch products in the next 3 months, they can still sell a lot of existing products. But for DTC, because it's a very high competition market right now, there's Amazon as well, and Temu, Shein, other so many platforms that is a competitor. Then if you take so much time in producing new designs, new products, it will be very dangerous for your business. All right. Okay. So, what are the common challenges we face in the e-commerce DTC supply chain, and how do we overcome them?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. Not just the DTC, but overall supply chain. But with the DTC, inventory management and demand forecasting, that is one of the main challenges that we can face. Because like you mentioned, DTC is based on demand, based on sales per day. And if we want to launch a new product, or if we want to do a promotion, the sales will fluctuate, where it will go down, or it will be depending on the sales per day. So we need to the solution for that is to have a historical data, study the market trends, do predictive analysis. With the international supply chain management, it's just a forecast. But with inventory management, with the DTC, it's more on real time with demand. forecasting. So we need to utilize more softwares, AIs, streamlining the process to avoid those kind of challenges. Also, order fulfillment. Um, Challenges that we might encounter with order fulfillment is with DTC, it's more on direct to the customers. So we need to timely fulfill orders. It's accurate since it's directly going to the customers. We to have any mistakes on that because that will come to the returns process as well. One thing also that we might encounter is the compliance and regulatory issues for since we're selling or the company is selling through different countries and different states. A DTC brand is not or it's selling directly to the customers, like I mentioned earlier. So we have a lot of things to consider legally, the tax, the trade regulations, the product safety standards. We have to know more on that because it differs per state, and it also will be different per country. So we need to know more on that, and we need to have we need to research more on a different compliance and regulatory laws in every
In
state.
our new product development, Mary, I remember when we were in China and we visited the vendor of our client. One of the biggest challenge is very simple, but actually we cannot let this ruin our process, is a communication, because we are not getting the support that we need from the sales, and we thought that the company or the manufacturer is very limited in terms of technology and products. But when we visited, it's a very huge manufacturing plant, state of the art machines. They are their marketing are usually attending US events. They are very well versed in English, can communicate properly, but also the R&D are really talented, and QA. We've spoken to all of the members or department heads of that company, but because of that one sales representative that is not responding properly, or there's a communication gap, it's already having a huge impact on our growth. Like it's very the lead time is super long for any development. We keep on following up, and there's no like an update, or if there's a reply, it's not helpful. So I think one of the most common challenges that we face overall in supply chain, whether it's inventory planning or new product development, is how challenging it is to have different nationalities communicating because of the language barrier as well, time zone. That's why it's very helpful for US brands or Europe brands to be supported by Filipino talents, because at least we have the same time zone with Asian countries like China, Vietnam, and other vendors in Southeast Asia or Asia. So that's one. And I think because of the pandemic, it didn't allow us to visit China for a very long time. And so a lot of our vendors or a lot of our clients or business owners in the US, they haven't thought of visiting China themselves, because again, so many reasons, and it's quite across the globe. They will spend a lot of money and time, and then they are not even sure how to communicate or make the meeting effective and efficient. So I think breaking those barriers is our main goal in supply chain, because we can bridge the gap, and we can represent our clients in China visits, Canton Fair sourcing, and at the same time the late night WeChat, WhatsApp, emailing of our clients to our Chinese vendors or Asian vendors, we can take off that we can take that off their plate. So at least I think the key takeaway for me in this discussion is, although there are challenges that we are facing right now, and of course it will not go away, especially in global handling global supply chain, there are best practices that we can always apply. And I think in the beginning when we're supporting a new client, they will require like a very basic support in supply chain. Like for example, very basic. Let's fix your inventory planning and demand forecasting. Let's fix your new product development and sourcing. Let's change your low quality products and problematic vendors. Those are like the lowest hanging fruit. Let's negotiate lead time, MOQ, pricing, improve your COGS, improve your shipments, choose freight forwarder. But also there are the next level, which is understanding more in-depth supply chain. Like for example, if you have a vendor right now for a specific product, knowing who are the tier 2 or the tier 3 of your vendors is very helpful, so that we can help them find raw materials or negotiate costing, or if they can keep or safe keep raw materials for us, so that when there are issues in the raw materials, we are not affected. So there could be more and more projects in the future that we can apply, and we're just in the level 1 right now, and we're excited to solve more. Okay.
Miss Sarah, just if I may add, just for as an experience, this client that I have right now, the only problem that he has is that he wants to take the communication from China away from his plate,
Yeah.
because it's very late for him. So, and then we found out that the COGS is high, and we can improve his COGS. We can get one vendor instead of 3 vendors that he's currently has, and we can also do the packing, the pick and packing on the current 3PL that he is in contract with. So yeah, by having us
Yeah.
do this, we're solving a lot of things just by reaching out and getting us handle the Chinese communication, the China communication.
Thank you for sharing that, Mary. How do you ensure that the products you develop align with the brand's vision? I know I remember you mentioning about the brand's mission and the customer expectations. Do you do any prior research before supporting? Like for example, if Liza message you about, do you still have time? We have another client needing support. When she mentioned about the brand name, what is your step on how to align the brand's vision with new product development or sourcing?
Yeah, so I researched the brand first, and then how just on my first view, how can I help this brand? So how long do I need to spend per day to ensure that I am supporting this brand the way that he needed us, or the way that they needed us? So I need to know the vision, or what are the target that he wants to have for the first phase, and then do a market research. Who are the vendors, potential vendors that we can tap with. Yeah, and also look at the product itself, see the if we can have a more, in terms of the quality of the product, if we can have a more quality on the product that we're sourcing with, if we're going to source and move through with that brand.
All right. So moving forward to your talent and expertise, one of our recruitment specialists found you, Mary, and I remember interviewing you in the final interview before you start supporting Move supply chain. And the way that we're doing it is whenever there's a client who's asking for support of fractional support of Move supply chain, we are tapping more staffing to find the talents for us, because we need to create a group of talented supply chain individuals to support the requirement of the company. So either it's inventory planning heavy or new product heavy, new product development heavy. We're going to make sure that we create a team, and more staffing has been a huge support for that success of Move supply chain, because without um, headhunting or hiring a lot of supply chain talents, we cannot fulfill the support that we need to do. In your opinion, Mary, what skills and qualities do you believe are essential for a successful NPD lead in e-commerce industry?
First is you need to be a problem solver. That will be the first thing that you want that you need to be. You need to be a problem solver. Have a strategic thinking. Can do market analysis, competitive analysis. Can do project management. You need to also be a customer focused. So you need to know what the customers need on their end as well, to have a better understanding of what products to source. You need to also have a good decision-making skills, because there are a lot of times that you need to decide if this product fits the brand that you're sourcing or the brand that you're working with. And you need to be adaptable, especially with e-commerce and DTC. It's more on a fast-paced environment wherein a lot of changes will happen every day. And there are a lot of brand owners that will think, oh, this is I need today. And tomorrow during your meeting, there is another thing that he wants. So yeah, I think that is the main things that you need to have to be in the NPD lead industry, the e-commerce industry.
I want to put you on the spot. How was your experience in the hiring process of more staffing?
It's really fast-paced. Like, for example, I'm interviewed this month, and then in a few weeks, I already have a client. And right now, I think I'm working with Move for 2 or 3 months already.
Congratulations!
Client.
I hope we can do more hours. That you have other clients as well. You were interviewed, of course. You had different previous experiences in supply chain before. What do you think sets more staffing apart when we are doing the hiring process for more staffing as compared to the other HR or recruitment specialists from different experience that you have?
With more staffing, they are more clear with what the vision or the goal of the company is. It's not just hiring because we need this, we need that. It's I know that I will excel more, or I will learn more with the company, and I will have more experience since the company is more niched, or it's supporting a fractional team, and the HR is very clear with that, with the mission of the company. So I think that also helps me because while I'm thinking if I will join more, I'm thinking, can I do this, or can I have more time? But in the after contemplating, I know that it is for my own good. Like, I will learn, I will have more experience, I will have more growth.
And lastly, what was your reaction in the assessment that we've ask you to answer?
For me, it's normal that not other hiring managers do that, or I haven't experienced that before with other managers, but it also helps me uh know more about myself, or
Mhm.
yeah, I think I can do this, I know I can answer this, like it's more on
All right.
getting to know myself too.
Okay, final thoughts. What advice would you give to e-commerce business owners looking to strengthen their NPD or supply chain strategies? As for, I think for me, the number one is, um, my number one, and I always say this during discovery calls with clients, is that um, we don't do shortcut or skip um the development of the product in terms of quality. Like, I know it takes time for a product to, for a sample to arrive from Asia to US to check the quality and the print or the specifications, and skipping it or doing shortcuts will just lead to um further or more wasted effort, money, and time. So that's my number one advice, is not
Mm.
doing short. But I think we can be efficient when we are um, organized, and we are coordinating diligently between vendors and clients and approvers, but never skipping
But
process in the new product development.
streamlining process, that is really a good advice. On my end, just be adaptable or stay agile. Like for example, in e-commerce, and I know this will also, it will also help to have an NPD who has all of the characteristics that you need to launch a product. Like for example, they can leverage data, um they have a streamlined process, they can also coordinate with suppliers, so that diversifying suppliers to do all of the information, all of the risks that you need to uh to 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 know with the
Mm.
item or the product and the suppliers or the vendors itself. Also, you need to invest with technology. Like I have this client that um he's really nice because he brought us um a Chat GPT Pro account for all of us, the SE team, and it's after we were introduced, he gave us this access, and it's really nice that the
Mm.
client know that we need to research more on things that we need to develop. And yeah, just this the Chat
Mm.
GPT is really helpful in terms of researching. So like yeah, invest in technology, do some research on AI and machine learning and
Yes.
automation, which is NPDs can do, by the way, especially with your sheets. We have a lot of sheets. I know companies or brand owners have a lot of sheets, and yeah, we can do that, the automation and all of the things that you need to do on your end for the reporting.
Yeah. I've mentioned earlier, never skip a process or never shortcut, but we can expedite steps and tasks with the help of AI and tools. And so working smart versus working hard is going to be a huge support. And thank you so much, Mary, for that for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. Your journey and expertise provide invaluable lessons for both clients looking to hire top-notch new product development talents, um, and for aspiring talents eager to excel in this field. Like you've mentioned, I'm very happy to always share that it doesn't require um like an educational background or a specific college degree or a college institution for us to be very good in what we're doing in supply chain, as long as we are equipped with soft skills and technical skills and we're very willing to learn. And this is going to be a huge growth in profession for us. To our listeners, we hope you found this episode enlightening and inspiring. Stay tuned for more episodes of Talent Talks, where we continue to explore the stories and strategies behind successful global recruitment. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you. Thanks, Miss Lara.